Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let's take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome to Wisconsin Family. I'm Jessa Jeremiah.
And I'm Justin Riley, and we have a great show for you today. Lots of great guests. We are on location at the J&K Security Solutions Model Smart Home.
We are. We're having a great time here already, and in a little while, later in the show, we're going to learn about how you can have a home theater in your home, and it might be something small or it might be grand. There's all kinds of options.
Yeah, you wouldn't think of a Security Solutions place to be the place to go to for home theater, but it really is. They really have a lot of experience to offer here.
It makes sense. They're in the technology business, and so they are the best equipped to get you set up properly from start to finish. I'm excited about that.
We'll also be joined by Natalie Koberstein from Dragonfly Hot Yoga and Flight Cycle. She's going to talk about some of the great events that are coming up.
Fitness and fun. We look forward to it.
Yep. And John Shear from Trinity Financial Planning will also join us and talk a little bit about, is paying off your debt or your house really a good idea?
We're going to be taking a viewer question on air in just a minute, so stick around for Wisconsin Family.
Hey folks, welcome back to Wisconsin Family, and here we are at the J&K Security Solutions Model Smart Home over on South Park Street.
We sure are, a familiar place and a familiar face.
Yes, this is John Shear from Trinity Financial Planning. How are you, John?
Doing well. You guys?
Excellent,
Great.
excellent. So we're actually going to start out today with a question that was submitted via email, and it says this: Dear John, a friend inherited quite a bit of money recently, enough where he could buy his house in cash.
Sounds good.
He's thinking that he's thinking that will be a good way to preserve his money, and I just thought, geez, that sounds good, but making such a major decision is something where you really need unbiased advice. So I want to ask you if you were willing to discuss that topic today. Thanks for taking my question.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it. And with interest rates changing and the Fed raising rates, it's been a big discussion point lately, so happy to talk about that.
Sure, yeah.
So
just what are your thoughts on that? Buying a house, it sounds like a good idea, being debt-free.
Right. It's one of those, this is one of those situations where the conventional wisdom really isn't. And it's we talk about good debt and bad debt. So bad debt is on things that depreciate in value. Your car is going to be worth less in 5 years than it is today, right? And so you don't want debt on that. Your house is going to be worth more in 10 or 20 years than it is today. So you get positive leverage. And I put together a little example of if somebody had, say, $50,000 in cash in the bank and $50,000 in stocks, and they inherited this $300,000. If they buy a house that's worth $300,000. Then, and I've brought an example here that we can show, I think, where it shows, you've got a lot of your assets in the real estate. And on the other hand, if you look at the graph there, on the other hand, if you take $200,000 and take a loan out and have $100,000 in equity, then and diversified the other $200,000 from your assets, you'd have $150 in cash and $150 in stocks and $100,000. Your net worth is the same, but if you look at the difference in those two pictures, there's one's a lot more diversified than the other, and not having all your eggs in one basket, I think, is really important.
Okay. I like the graph. That makes it really easy to picture. I like simplicity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You think like, oh, the house paid off is a good thing, and you look at, oh, geez, it's really top heavy on that as opposed to being balanced.
Right,
yeah,
absolutely.
no, I like that. That makes sense.
So of course having a mortgage is not a bad thing necessarily.
That's right.
But it seems that once you get your mortgage in place, is getting it paid off quickly can be a smart thing to do because it saves you money in the long run. So does paying it off faster mean that you save money?
It does, but you've got to consider the other alternatives as well. And so I put together some examples on this $200,000 mortgage idea. And this came up, my brother had a question a few years ago about this very same issue. He says, listen, if I get a 15-year loan, it's only going to cost me around 3%. Over 15 years, I pay like 50 grand in interest. If I get a 30-year mortgage, it's going to be about 4% interest. In 15 years, I pay twice as much in interest, and I pay 150 over the lifetime. Why would I want to pay 150 of interest instead of 50?
Right.
And so it sounds logical, like, geez, I want to pay less interest.
Right.
But you kind of forget that in order to do that, the mortgage is like $950 for the 30-year. It's like $1,400 for the 15. So you're putting in an extra $450 into that mortgage. So if you take that $400 and you put it into your Roth IRA or put it into a savings account in some place, you can't count the interest expense of the mortgage without counting the opportunity that you lost to invest.
The
Right.
opportunity
And if you get,
cost.
you know, so, and I put together some numbers on it. If you had, the stock market's averaged around 11%, right?
Yeah.
So if you get 11% over 15 years, that side account would be
Yeah.
worth $190,000.
Yeah.
Or even if you got half that much, it'd be worth $120,000.
Yeah.
And so, you know, after 15 years on a 30-year mortgage, you still owe about 130 grand. You go, geez, I paid 100 in interest, I owe 130 grand.
Yeah.
But this side pot's going to have 100 and some $1,000 in it,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And so it gives you some, so you have to take that into consideration when you look at that.
That's really interesting and almost counterintuitive. So, you know, having somebody that understands that and can lay it out so simply is so nice. And it's just, like I said, a different perspective. So are there other benefits, I guess? It sounds strange to say, but to having a mortgage.
And you know, you get a tax deduction for it, and it's beneficial, as in we haven't included that in this little analysis, so you do get a tax deduction, which is nice. The other thing it does is it protects you against inflation. People don't think about that. Like if you get a mortgage today, it's $1,000 a month. How much is that going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? $1,000 a month.
Right.
What's the price of gas today? $1.75 a gallon. What's the price of gas going to be in 10 years, in 20 years, right? So your mortgage stays the same, but all your other costs of living go up, so it actually protects you as inflation goes. Your cost, you know, in 20 years you're paying $1,000, but that's not $1,000 in today's dollars.
So
It's
Right,
$1,000
yeah.
down the road, right?
Right. So in a way, your mortgage expense goes down over time,
That's right.
even
Right.
though on paper it's
Because of inflation, right? You don't think
That's
about
so
that stuff.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not
Yeah.
quite so obvious, but
Right.
Yeah.
what about the negatives of having a mortgage versus paying off your house? Just paying it off flat.
Well, you know, the one thing is if you're not going to save that extra money, you know, human nature, listen, you got a 15-year mortgage at $1,500, you've got to make that payment. If you're going to spend the difference, then save it into your house, right? If you're
Right.
not going to put it in your 401k or into a savings account, that's the big risk is human nature primarily with things.
Right.
Is, you know, we say we're going to do that, but geez, it forces you to do it. So if the choices are spend the money or invest it in your house, put it in the mortgage. But if you can put it where you're going to save it versus put it in the mortgage, typically it makes sense to
Yeah.
do the saving side of things.
Okay.
Human nature, something we often neglect to consider
Yeah,
when
it's a
making these
unfortunate.
decisions.
Bigger factor than the economics
Right.
in a lot of these things.
And real quick before we go for viewers at home, how can they find unbiased financial advice?
Go to our website, trinfin.com is a great source. We've got a blog that we write, and that's a great place to look at this and other information.
A great website.
Excellent. Jessa, it's time to go.
It's time to go, Justin.
Thank you so much, John Shearer, Trinity Financial
Yeah,
Planning.
thanks.
Don't go away. There's more Wisconsin Family coming up right after this. Stick around.
'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We are filming at J&K Security Solutions, where we're going to learn how we can get a home theater in our own home.
How exciting.
How great is that?
Yeah.
What a fun experience. We're also going to learn a little bit about fitness, one of our favorite topics, and we've got Natalie Koberstein joining us from Dragonfly Hot Yoga and Flight Cycle, and we're so pleased to see you again. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
We are doing
Good.
well, yes.
Good.
So let's kind of dive in here. Let's start with Dragonfly Hot Yoga
Sure.
because I think there are potentially people out there who have never tried yoga at all, or for people who have tried yoga at other places and just don't know what to expect if they switch. Talk to us a little bit about the experience at Dragonfly.
Sure. Well, the best thing that one of my favorite things about my job is telling people that the first class is free. So you come into Dragonfly, you don't have to pay for your class. You get a mat for free, a towel rental for free. So you can just come in your workout clothes and get started right away.
That's great.
Our classes are welcome for all levels. So if you've never stepped foot on a yoga mat, or if you have before, you're gonna get a great experience either way. We give really great tours. Our studios are very clean. They have tons of amenities. So we've got showers and shampoo and conditioner. We've got hair dryers, deodorant, lotion, pretty much everything you need for post-hot yoga.
Yeah.
To get ready and go off on your day as well.
That's great. So you
Yeah.
come as you are, just pop on your gym clothes and you can get ready on the way out.
Yep.
I love
Excellent.
it.
That's
great.
awesome. Well, we're going to switch gears for a minute here and talk about Flight
Nice.
Cycle.
Feel
So-
a pun coming up.
There
yes.
you go. You guys are doing some really incredible events like the Big Takeoff. You did that earlier in the year, I think maybe late last year. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Big Takeoff?
Sure. So the Big Takeoff is a weight loss focused program. So it's 7 weeks long. You can purchase 1 week at a time, or you can do the whole 7-week program. If you purchase the full 7 weeks, it's a little bit more financially.
A better
Right.
deal.
It's a better
Yeah, it's a better deal.
It's
Thank
more
you.
economical.
Economical. That's
There
the
you
word
go.
I was looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a 7-week program. You work with Kayla Pooler, who's an ACE certified trainer, and she's our director of instruction at Flight. So
Okay.
There's nutrition coaching, there's domestic flights every week, there's heart rate monitor work. So you really dive into all of the components that go along with weight loss, not just those workouts. You get every part of it. It was really successful the last time we did it, and people had a lot of fun.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you talked a little bit about the different package deals, but talk about some of the packages available as a whole at Dragonfly. Like what can people sign up for long term?
Sure. So we have our $99 per month membership, so that gives you unlimited access to yoga and fitness classes at all 4 of our locations.
Okay.
There's a bunch of really cool benefits that go along with that as well, such as discounts on workshops and retail. We also have class passes. So if you're somebody who maybe comes to class once a week, occasionally twice a week, your best financial option is often the class passes.
Yeah.
So we have a 10 or 20. And then we also have, you can buy an unlimited month. So if you're someone who's traveling into town and you're only going to be here for a month or two, an unlimited month is $150. And again, just like that membership, you get full access to all 4 studios, yoga and fitness classes, unlimited.
So great that you have those options, because there are so many varieties of types of people out there in terms of what they're needing in yoga. And good point, you come into town, you love doing yoga, but you just don't have a studio here. You can buy 1 month, and there's not a lot of places that will let you do something short term like that. That's economical.
Yeah, they want that commitment, but that's great that you have that option for folks.
No, I love that.
You guys often partner with nonprofit organizations, and we noticed that you have an event coming up with the Rape Crisis Center. Tell folks how they can get involved with that.
Sure. So it's on April 9th.
Yep.
So there are 3 of our yoga studios and Flight are all putting on classes that afternoon. So they're starting around the noontime. You come to whatever studio is convenient for you, and it's $20 per class. So we have yoga classes, we have fitness classes, and we have bar amped classes being offered. So all of the proceeds that day go right to the Rape Crisis Center.
Okay,
And then
wow.
10% of our sales overall for the weekend are also going to go to the Rape Crisis Center. So if you're somebody who's looking to buy a 10 class pass, that's a great weekend to do it, because 10% of that is going to go to a great cause.
Oh, nice.
So
that's really great. Well, congrats to you guys for doing something like that. I do want to talk about Flight before we go.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, you have an event coming up with a live DJ.
Yeah, DJ Steele.
Tell us about that. That's going to be so fun.
So it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. So it's called the Flighting Irish. So pretty
Perfect.
clever.
Yeah.
I know you like puns.
Yes.
It's kind of fun. So it's that Friday night. It's the 18th, 7 to 8 p.m. Kayla is teaching it, and then DJ Steele will spin live music. So it's kind of going to be a combo of new age music, maybe a little bit of Irish tunes in there mixed in.
Ooh,
and
fun.
Yeah, so we pick themes and we just make it really fun and interactive, and you can't beat a live DJ while you cycle, right?
Oh
And
my
it's
gosh.
already so much fun when you go in there, because it feels like a dance party instead of a cycling class. So, but to add the live music to that, I think is just going to make it that much more fun.
No kidding.
Dragonfly is also on putting on quite a few events in the next few weeks. Tell us about what some things that are coming up for Dragonfly.
Absolutely, yeah, we have so much going on this spring. So we've been doing these bend and brews out at Wisconsin Brewing Company. So it's yoga and then beer afterwards. So there's a couple of those coming up. We just had one this past week, and there's another one coming up on the 20th. So keep your eyes peeled for those. We may have some future ones coming up as well. We have things such as the arm balance workshop on the 13th. So breaking down crow, some of those arm balances, helping you find where you can be in those positions. And then also we have yin, so the other side of things, something more restorative, more relaxing. We have a yin immersion on April 2nd.
Oh my gosh, you guys always have something going on. Well, Natalie, thanks for sharing Flight, Cycle, and Dragonfly Hot Yoga with lots of great locations. Make sure you check them out. When we return, we are learning how we can get home theater set up right in our own homes. We're here at J&K Security Solutions, so stick with us.
'Cause every day is a new day.
And welcome back to Wisconsin Family, and this is the segment that we've been waiting for.
Yes.
We've been on location at the Model Smart Home for J&K Security Solutions, and now we're going to find out a little bit about home theater
We
systems.
promised you home theater, and these are the folks you want to hear it from.
Yes, Tom Spinoso and Bill Topol join us. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us here. So let's start out for those folks who are not familiar with J&K Security Solutions. Can you give us a little bit of a background of how the business started and what they do?
It started in 1985, just a simple key shop out of the owner's house and car.
Yeah.
And they incorporated down on Park Street in '87, and they've been on the Park Street area for ever since about 30 years. And as security has progressed, so has the business. Now we're into electronic security. There's still the key shop. There's a hollow metal division, fire, card access, cameras, and now a smart home division as well.
So incredible. What a fabulous story of growth. I love that it started from a key shop. And now look at this place and what you do for homes.
We've come a long way over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, it's incredible. So we're going to focus today on home theater, and I think this is a fantastic topic. Who doesn't want a home theater? I think that sounds great, but we want to learn a little bit about it. Maybe kind of some cost aspects, how it works in terms of technology. So start with the basics. What is a home theater, and what does it look like?
So I think the goal of a home theater is to take that movie theater experience. So when you go to the theater and you sit down and you're sort of immersed in the screen and you forget that you're sitting in a chair and you're kind of in the action, that's what really a home theater is. We try to take that experience and reproduce it in your home. And there's a lot of ways to get that done. Home theaters come in a couple different flavors. The trend 10, 15 years ago was to build sort of a single purpose room. Where it would be a theater with a big projector and you have seats and you went there and that's what you did. Today we're seeing that trend change to maybe more multi-purpose rooms where there might be an activity room on the end of it, or maybe a bar, or they're opening up a basement and they don't really want to close it off to one thing. And so these multi-purpose rooms are we're seeing them become very popular. And I think the term home theater means a lot of different things now. It's not just movies. It's video games. I mean, we have a lot of people that want to play video games, and of course there's like a home theater style audio to those games, and so games and sporting events. You sit down and watch a Packer game, it's like you're sitting in Lambeau Field because all the surround from the crowd is coming at you. So,
But you don't have to climb over people to get a beer. It's
exactly. Or wait for the bathroom. It's probably the most important.
That's such a cool experience, and I liked some of the other elements too, because you talk about being multi-use, and that's just right in trend with homes today. People want that open concept, and to your point, not a closed-off room. That's for one thing. So that's perfect.
So obviously there's some changes in the industry. We've noticed that people are moving more towards multi-use rooms and that sort of thing. I'm curious to know a couple of things. Number one, what do you feel is the reason for that? And then second part of the question is, what else have you noticed changes over the years in the industry?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I really think, homes and the design of homes to be more efficient and more multi-use is really, I think, driving that. I mean, homes are, I don't have the data on this, but I believe the square footage of homes is getting smaller and not bigger, based on what we're seeing. And certainly the push to use the space more efficiently is there. What we're seeing, and I'm not sure if this is in spite of or because of, but when you look at TV technology and you look at how the form factors of TVs have become very, very thin, there's been a couple of outcomes to that, one of which, the audio from a TV is really bad. I mean, the cases are so thin that the speakers have gone from being, maybe a decent sized speaker to being very, very small. And a lot of times they're on the back of the TV pointing into the wall. So TV sound quality has really gone down. So what's happened is there are a lot of companies now producing something we call a sound bar. And it's basically a speaker that you add to the bottom of a TV that helps produce the TV audio. And that's really a way that somebody gets started in home theater.
I'm glad you addressed that, because I think that's something that not a lot of consumers realize when they go to buy a TV, is that really the volume on the TV is probably not going to suit a lot of your needs, especially if you're looking to watch movies or play video games or things, sports, things of that nature. So you guys are able to address those concerns for people.
A quick comment there, as the speakers get smaller and they get harder to hear, the vocals become a real problem. And if you can't hear what somebody is saying on the TV, it doesn't really matter what the action is around it. So really what's happened is, a lot of people think home theater, they think a lot of boxes and a lot of speakers and, I need a lot of stuff. Well, now you can really get a nice home theater experience for maybe one speaker that gets mounted below the TV, a sound bar. That's a big change.
And let's touch a little bit on that technology there, because if viewers at home aren't familiar with a sound bar, or maybe the relationship between the TV and the sound bar, is the technology difficult to use, or are people going to be able to relatively easily learn that?
There is that stigma out there that people think that something may be difficult to use, and it could just be people don't know what they don't know. And one of our jobs is to make sure we're giving someone, end user, an experience and a product that they're going to be able to use and use effectively, and that they're going to enjoy it. It's not. A single remote, such as a universal remote, is going to be much more efficient than having 5 remotes for a TV, a receiver, an Apple TV, a Roku, etc.
Right.
Being able to consolidate that all into one and having either a remote or an app or an automation system in some factor to run all that, in the end, it will be much simpler to use and user-friendly, but a little education, just like anything, is going to be needed for the customer, and we're more than happy to provide that for them.
Yeah.
And that's obviously something that you can help to consolidate that, to automate things. That's something. What are some other things that J&K Security Solutions can offer for those who are looking to put a home theater system into their house?
Well, what we like to do is really go out to a customer's home and experience it, see the space that they're trying to use, make recommendations. Everybody has a little bit of a different opinion on fit and finish and how they want the room to turn out. So we take that really seriously. So we'll go in and ask a lot of questions, find out what look they're going for. Some people want it to be front and center when you walk into the room. Some people don't want to see anything at all.
Right, yeah.
So we get them all the way in between. I think one thing we focus on, regardless of what they want, is making it really easy to use so the whole family can use it. So we find that when we go to homes, everybody's got an opinion on how they want it to work and how they want it to look.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like that simplicity across the board for people in terms of learning the technology, and that it's a total package, that you're going to come in, see the individual space, talk to the family or the person about their individual needs, and then teach them how to use it once it's installed. So it's really start to finish. And I didn't even think about the fact that you just spoke on, which is some people want the home theater to be very prevalent and be the focal point of the room, where others may want it hidden completely. So you can actually do that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
a lot of folks don't think about a security solutions place as being the place to go for a home theater system. And Tom, I don't know if I should mention this or not, but you have a background in home theater systems in a previous life, is what I understand. So this is kind of your specialty. Why should people come here to J&K Security Solutions to get that experience?
Well, I think that the community and the family, that we talked about here, we're a local family-owned business. We really pride ourselves on taking care of people.
Yeah.
And so from beginning to end, you can come in and we'll, regardless of what you need, from security to home theater, we can do the whole thing. And I believe nobody takes care of people better than we do.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that.
Tom Spinoso and Bill Topol, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks,
today.
you guys.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have here at J&K Security Solutions, the model smart home for Wisconsin family. We'll see you next time.